This is Twit.
Sweepstakes, obviously, like they weren't created with the internet. They've been around long before the internet actually existed. How has the internet kind of changed the landscape in the past 20 years?
Yeah, so sweepstakes have been a part of American culture, since the 1950s. And it used to be really hard to enter. You used to have to send in these postcards or maybe even write a jingle for a company or perform some kind of task. And in the new digital age of sweepstakes, it's expedited the whole process of entry. So there's a whole system of filling out hundreds of forms in one day, or there are kind of some ways to game the system have emerged in recent years.
And there are people who have figured this out and who are putting it, to the extreme test. How much time, how much energy is actually spent? You call them sweepers. This must be like an industry term for people who are doing this all the time. Like, is there time and energy? Is the payoff worth it in the end? Because it sounds like it could be a lot of work. Maybe the internet makes it a little bit easier, though.
Sure. Yeah. So in the United States, these avid sweepstake enters are called sweepers. In the UK, they're called compers. And if you go online, it's just like a massive community. There's underground Facebook groups and forums and newsletters. Hundreds of people kind of partake in this art form of gaming the odds. And people think of sweepstakes as these random things that are just a matter of chance, but some people claim that they are totally a skill-based activity. So I spoke to a number of women who have spent a lot of time coming up with various systems of trying to kind of game the odds of entering these contests. I would say on average, the average sweeper probably makes somewhere around $1,000, $1,500 a year. But there's a really small percentage of sweepers who actually make a substantial living off of doing this.
Wow. And it's not just, making money, because some sweepstakes might have a cash reward, but a lot of these are going to be prizes and everything. And hey, I would love a trip to Bermuda every once and again. So maybe it's worth it to take the time to do this. You wrote about a couple of different approaches. You wrote about a qualitative approach and then a quantitative approach. And you actually have, one woman that you feature for each of those categories in your article. It was pretty fascinating. I guess, talk about the differences between the two. Are they applicable to different types of sweepstakes, or are they just different strategies?
Sure, yeah. So online, there are a number of different types of sweepstakes. The one that I call qualitative is any kind of sweepstakes where you can kind of just influence the person who's picking the winners. So some contests you might need to retweet something or post a photo on Instagram. And those sweepstakes, obviously, there are more ways to show your personality or distinguish yourself. And a lot of times the people choosing the winners aren't doing it randomly. They're looking for the person who exhibits the best characteristics that they want in a winner. So one woman I spoke to, Diana Koch in the UK, has been doing this for 15 years now. And she's used it to win a brand new car, $40,000 in cash. She's won trips to Tokyo, Barcelona, Brazil, front row tickets to London Fashion Week, nice. A washing machine, refrigerator, just in total, probably $300,000 worth of various prizes.
And then, of course, she has to find a place to put all this stuff and ask herself, man, did I need another washer? Or maybe I do.
Yeah. It's actually it's not uncommon for people to sell these prizes too. Sure. If they win something they don't want. But then the other side of this, the quant side, is there's a whole community of people who enter competitions that are just a matter of filling out a form online. So it's just a very, very basic form: name, address, email. And obviously, hundreds of thousands of people enter these contests, these dream vacation contests, things like that. But there's a subset of people who've come up with this ridiculous system of expediting the process so that they're able to fill out 200 or 300 of these forms in a matter of maybe an hour. They use aggregators, which are sites that compile all of these different sweepstakes. And then they use all this software like auto form fillers and various mechanisms to just expedite the process of filling out these forms. And that's also a very successful strategy. One woman I spoke to won a meet and greet with Sting by doing this, and probably around $300,000 or $400,000 of additional prizes as well.
Wow. And I mean, at that point, what you're talking about, it's a sheer numbers game, right? Like there aren't that many people that are going to take the time, and maybe it isn't a whole lot of time. It sounds like it would be a whole lot of time to fill out 200, 300, 400 questionnaires. God, filling out just one just makes me, it just seems like a bridge too far for me. But if there's software that helps you through this, it's truly a numbers game, right? If you put in on 400, you're likely to win something at some point, right?
Yeah, it's 100% a numbers game. You're totally right. It's still a game of chance, but what they're doing is increasing their odds by filling out as many forms as they can. They find competitions where you can enter multiple times. They find all these random ways to game the system, and it works.
Wow. Yeah. I had an experience a couple of years ago where, every once in a while, whoever you happen to be subscribed to their mailing list or whatever, an audio company that I follow called IK Multimedia had some sort of like an anniversary celebration. Submit your email address. You might win, $1,000 package of our software, blah, blah, blah. We'll choose 3 winners. And very randomly, well, it seemingly to me anyways, out of nowhere, I got the email that said that I had won. And it was, it was 100% legit, but it was just one of those things that was like, I just didn't think people actually win these things, because anytime I've ever done it, I've never won anything. So it kind of, it opens your eyes to the possibility of, wait a minute, if it is truly a numbers game and you have the time, great, maybe you can win more things that actually mean something to you and have some monetary value. What are some of these tools? Because you talk a little bit about the tools that they're using, or maybe even just the communities that people are checking so other people can get started.
Yeah, there are a number of like auto form fillers on the internet. If you search like auto form filler, a variety of companies will come up.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I don't want to name any because I don't want to seem like I'm promoting any, but
gotcha.
Tons of sweepstake forums. I win contests is a great site, and they also the proprietor of that website has won over $1 million in sweepstakes himself. He's one of the kind of gurus of the sweepstakes space in the United States. But the other thing about this community is it's unusual in the sense that it's very welcoming. Even though you would think that all these people would just be kind of ferociously competing with each other, but they share strategies with each other, and they want to encourage each other to win. They celebrate each other's wins. You go on these forums, and they're rallying behind the guy who won a $20,000 fishing boat or a trip to Japan. They get very excited for one another, and they're more than willing to share their tips.
Oh, that's interesting. All right. So that site was iwincontest.com for anyone that wants to go and check that out.